Testing, testing. All right, so today we are going to be doing a problem from Code Wars. I have had to modify it slightly, given that I'm trying to keep this problem of being fairly simple, being fairly straightforward. That's been my goal for this, just to use it as an exercise to practice going through my whole process of PDAC. So that's what we're doing today. And here's the problem description. So in this kata, you have to extend the dictionary with a method that returns a list of words matching a pattern. This pattern may contain letters, lowercase, and placeholders, question mark. A placeholder stands for exactly one arbitrary letter. Okay, I have the problem description in my editor, so we're going to go over there now. Okay, and I just started a timer earlier from a false start, so yeah, I'm giving myself about 40 minutes or so. But anyways, let's get started. So we have to extend a dictionary, and it looks like we are given this dictionary, fruits, not a dictionary in the sense of like a Python dictionary, but just a list of words, and it seems like we need to return an array of something, right? So we're given an array of words, or I guess strings, string words. So banana, apple, cherry, papaya. And we're also given some other word, right? So the second argument being some string. And our output looks like it's always going to be an array containing some strings. So in this test case, okay, we're seeing banana, papaya, cherry. So there's 6 letters. Okay, so, and then the target here was 6 question marks. So I'm kind of thinking of the question mark here just kind of like a wild card character. So it matches any string character of length 1. So yeah, that makes sense. And then for these ones, it's just matching the B, the N, the N, and then the P, and the Y for those 2 test cases here. And then looks like this one, it doesn't match cherry because this has a length of 7. Yeah, so that's of length 7. This one is only of length 6, so it matches up to the last, or it actually matches all the characters, but it's looking for some other character, right? So it would be like, that would actually be valid, I think, assuming that spaces are valid as characters. So I guess we'll go back to the problem here. So it returns a list of words matching a pattern. This pattern contains letters and placeholders. Okay, so I guess the space actually wouldn't count as a valid character. I guess that would be a question I would have to ask. So we'll just write that one out. Would a space character in a string be considered a valid letter? Question mark. Okay, so would a space character in a string be considered a valid letter? And I think based on the problem description, especially this word right here, I don't think an empty space would be considered a valid character in that specific pattern, right? So I'm going to say no. Spaces are not valid characters. And so then I guess the inference here, or the assumption you would make from this question, is that input array of strings elements don't have spaces. They only contain lowercase letters, and question marks. Okay, and we'll just put that in quotes. So that's kind of an assertion we would make here. I'm thinking, just given that, we are always given some array, presumably there could be a situation where what if this is empty? What if there is nothing in the input array? So we'll just write another test case for that, or get matching words, fruits, or I guess we can just pass in some other array, some empty array, and then lemon or something. How are we supposed to deal with this when our dictionary doesn't have anything, right? So I guess that's one test case. Another one might be, let's say we're given fruits again, and let's check like lemon space. Actually, let's test apple. Yeah, AP something, a space LE. So it does have the same length as apple, but it doesn't have a wildcard character, the question mark there. So this should just return an empty array object. Okay, so that makes sense. And then I think this one, it would probably just return maybe like an error message or something. Error message. Again, this would be something I would determine based on the interviewer's response to a question about it. And I guess another sort of categorical question, if we're dealing with like input types, would just be like, what about a sparse array? Sparse array, maybe we can just like declare that up here. Const sparse array is just an empty array, and then give it some length. Sparse array, actually let's actually give it some banana. Okay, so give it banana, and then we will give it a length of like 3 or something. How are we supposed to deal with this sparse array, right? And I think I want to make it valid, actually, banana. So in this scenario, this should return an array containing banana. And maybe we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so it should just return banana because that exists in the input array. All right, and we'll just make it more clear here. So BANANA, okay. Cool, so those are some test cases we'll add to the core set of test cases. And let's just really get the explicit rules down. So let's think here. So the pattern may contain letters and placeholders. So this is a very ambiguous statement. I think it's the result of whoever wrote the question just not being really specific about what they mean. Because I think if this was a very well thought out question description or problem description, they would not use the word may unless it was like they were hinting, okay, there's going to be other types of characters in the input. But just based on the test cases they have, I think it makes sense for us to interpret this sentence as this pattern will contain lowercase letters and the question mark placeholder character here. So I guess we can just state here in our explicit rules that question mark basically serves as a wildcard character who can match, or which can match, any single lowercase character. Okay. So it serves as a wildcard character which matches any single lowercase character in any of the words contained in the provided array. Okay. Another question here. We don't really get a whole lot of information about what the input array's words can contain. So that'd be a question we would have to ask for sure. So I guess the question would be, can the elements in the input array ever contain the question mark character? So, okay, contain the question mark character, okay? So this is hugely influential in terms of how we approach this problem. So let's say, for example, we have something like this, like const. Let's just use these test cases here. Let's grab this one, and we'll use this just core set. Okay, so we've got var other fruits. Okay, then let's just keep it simple here, and just keep it as these three elements in this array. Let's say, for example, we use a question mark, right? So how are we to handle that test case, right? So actually that should be up there. Okay, so we have this test case, and where did the oh, that's weird. Yeah, okay, we'll just use this. So I guess that would be a question. I think this should still return banana and papaya here, or it should return banana question mark and papaya. So I guess that's significant. So I guess here an array of string words. So that these are just general statements here. Okay, so the input array. So the elements in the input array, this is kind of makes more sense to be up here. All right, so the elements in the input array can contain the question mark character. Treat it like any other character. Okay. So that I think that tracks. Let's think, is there anything else really explicitly about the problem description that we're missing? Returns a list of words matching a pattern. This pattern may contain letters and placeholders. Yeah, so this was kind of the statement that it leaves a little out here, because like, what if the input array elements have the question mark character? How do we deal with that? So they don't really give a whole lot of constraints around the pattern, or I'm sorry, the elements in the array that is passed in, specifically like, can they, are they uppercase, lowercase? Are they containing non-alphabetical characters? Are they containing numeric characters? And most specifically, or I guess most importantly, the question mark character. So I don't think it matters too much for our solution, but just something to point out. All right, so we've got this, and we've got our explicit rules. Question serves as a wildcard character, and question mark can also just be a normal character within the context of elements in the input array. Okay. So we're dealing with a sparse array, we're dealing with an empty array, we're dealing with this character, this question mark character being a character in one of the elements in our array. So this is actually more of an implicit rule, but again, that it doesn't matter too much which category it's under. So, all right, we've got this, can be a normal character. All right, I'm kind of blathering now. So let's get to the actual problem here. So how would we describe this in 1 to 3 sentences? We would like to transform the we would like to select those elements in the input array which match the given pattern. Argument 2. So elements in the input array arg1 which match the given pattern. Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair as far as general understanding of the problem goes. So now we're going to just identify some of the subproblems here. So I guess the initial subproblem is just the input validation and guard. So that's a problem, right? So say we have the empty array, or even for instance, what if they're given in the wrong order, right? Something like this. I can just move this guy over. Right, lemon, and then an empty array, or it could even be lemon, right? This should still be an error message in my mind, given that it's the wrong data type when we're invoking this get matching words function. So yeah, I guess that's another thing I would think about, but just, specifically part of that subproblem. So okay, got that. So this is essentially our initial pass of the problem. We've got our subproblems here. So input validation and guard for invalid data types or wrong data types, or I guess wrong or invalid, valid, or I guess correct, typed, correctly typed inputs. So yeah, I'm mainly just targeting this empty array here, but so that's one of the subproblems. Another one here is really, I really just think there's one at this point. There's just one left, which is the actual pattern matching, right? So I think just like the general like pattern matching algo, right? And we're really just getting into the steps of that at this point. So we can think about those here. So as far as the steps go, we basically need to traverse the input array of elements, and for each element, check if we can successfully match the target, or the match argument, match the current element with the given target word, or I guess target pattern. I'm just gonna leave that as pattern. Cool, or I'm sorry, yeah, just the given pattern. And that's sort of its own probably helper function here. So if successful match, yeah, then we simply want to select this element, and otherwise skip, or I guess continue to next element in the input array. Okay, makes sense. I should probably write that helper function here. So traverse, so this is our helper, and I'm thinking this kind of makes sense for this to be a filter abstraction here, because that's essentially the behavior we're looking to emulate is that of a filter. So filtering the input array and then returning a new array that contains those filtered elements, which are successful matches. So the current elements, or the elements in the array which successfully match with the given pattern. That's the array we want, as we identified up here in our output. So basically, this helper function, so we'll just write it here, helper. Actually, we'll just check match question mark function. So we need to traverse the word, or the elements. Traverse the string elements, and check to see if the current element, the current character, either matches exactly, so like e.g. A and A, And this actually just made me think of something I should add to my explicit rules. So they explicitly state that the input target, or I guess input pattern, is always lowercase. Make sure I can verify that. This pattern may contain letters and placeholders, okay? And I guess I am asserting, or I am assuming that the elements in the input array will also have that assumption, right? If that's not a fair assumption to make, then I would have to alter my solution a little bit, but not too much. So matches exactly, or matches, or current character is question mark. If this is the case, then we would simply continue with traversal, with string traversal. Okay. And so what we're doing here, and we're passing in the current string and the pattern. And then basically this should just be returning Boolean. So do they match or not? That is the question that this function seeks to answer. Yeah. And I think this is enough pseudocode in my mind to start thinking about how we would implement this. So I guess let's just walk through to get a sense of how this would work. And I guess there might be a situation here where we want to check the, I guess, remove. I'm wondering, okay, I'm actually going to do some checking here in my terminal. Just go to the node REPL, and let's say we've got like array is an empty, or is just an array like this, and then array length is like 10 or something, and then we do like dot array. So it does, okay, so it does produce all those undefines. So I guess the way I would deal with this, given that we are testing for sparse arrays, is I would do what I just did, which was like using the, I believe it's the spread or rest operator, the 3 dots preceding an array. So we're going to write that here. So basically, valid or transform. We want to transform input array to guard against sparse arrays. And what's that going to look like? It's just going to be like the input array, and then we just would want to filter and it would just have to be like something like element, and then element is not equal to undefined. And I guess we could just do that here. So we do dot array filter element, and then element is not equal to undefined. Okay, so that solves that issue. Do I want to handle array objects that have non-indexed properties? I don't think so. I don't think it would matter either, because given our algorithm, we're just going to be traversing indexed elements, and so that's just going to not be iterated over. And I suppose I can prove that. Just do like array hi hello there, or hello. Okay, and then we just like array dot for each. But I guess I didn't. I can do this without validating it. Okay, so we've got about 14 minutes left of our 40 minutes. Really taking our time here. I still want to walk through an example. So let's walk through this test case. So we have a valid input array and a valid string. I suppose I should write that in the guard clause as well. All right, and then also, ensure input or arg2 is of type string, and okay, and then another thing we have to think about here, ensure arg2 is of type string, and then do we have to worry about, would we even be able to iterate over, I don't think you can iterate over an empty string. If it was just like this at index 0, it's undefined. So, okay, I guess that would also be a question here I would have to ask. So we'll write that up here. Can elements in the input array be empty strings? And so we can write some test cases here. I think it should be fair game. So we'll write that right here. Actually, we can write it down here. So we'll just do like var empties, yeah, and then just be like 1, 2, 3, empty, and then empty. Oh, I should probably turn that off. Okay, so we'll just use that, and then get matching words from empty, and let's say it's like question mark. So it should only match this first string. So this should just be empty array 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's what that should return. I feel like I talked about this earlier about, is empty string a valid character? And I don't know where I settled on with that. I feel like I might have thought that, or I might have made the assumption that it would not be considered a valid element in that array. So, get matching words. Should probably, let's just, okay. Gonna do a little bookkeeping here. Do I want to deal with this? I'll deal with it after, off camera. I don't really want to worry about it too much right now. So we've got 11 minutes, and we did want to walk through the algorithm, which I think we can still do. I think we still have time. So let's just look at these test cases, or this specific test case. I'll just drop them down here. Okay, so we've got this array, valid array, and all the elements are valid strings. And I guess that would also be something we would, again, have to assume that each of these elements are of the right type. That's an easy guard clause to add at the end if, at the very end we had a test case that, revealed our lack of test coverage, maybe like misunderstanding of the problem. But anyway, 10 minutes left. Let's get started. So we need to, so we're ensuring that argument 2 is of the right type, which it is. And now we need to enter this portion. So I'm gonna get rid of that. Want to traverse the array of elements. And for each element, we want to filter based on if we can successfully match the current element with the given pattern. And so this we identified as our helper. So if it's a successful match, we want to select that element. Otherwise, we just want to continue to the next element in the input array. So we're checking this one first, given that they're not of the same length. So that's actually another thing I would probably add to my function here. So if current string length is not equal to pattern length, we can just immediately return false. Return false. All right. So that's fair. And then, so this is not selected. They're of different lengths. Here, once again, not selected because they're of different lengths. Or no, they're of the same length, 5. But the first character immediately disqualifies that one. and so on. So now none of these are passing. So we are returning an empty array. I suppose I should write here, declare. No, we don't need to declare another result array because we're going to return the new array returned from this filter function. Okay. Another test case, one that actually passes, right? Let's grab this one. Okay. So we've got, okay, yeah, so we probably should have kept the, yeah. Okay. So we got fruits here. So we get to our normal algorithm and we're comparing this wildcard pattern with this. So yes, of the same length, and each of these wildcards work for each element. All right. Yeah, okay, so then that one's selected and cherry selected. So this test case works. All right, and then, yeah, okay, I think I just need to start writing the algorithm at this point. It's getting kind of late. So we're calling this get matching words. Array or words and pattern, okay. And we wanted to guard, so if the first element, so words, so if array is array, words, so if it is not an array, then we just want to return, or I guess, or pattern, or type of pattern is not a string, then we just want to return invalid input. All right, invalid inputs maybe. So that's checking just for the base data types. And we also need to check, so if words length is equal to 0, then we would just want to return empty array. And then we need to check if all of the words, if all the elements in the input array, so if some of them are not strings, okay, so that would be words some. So if some of them are type of word is not equal to, if some of them are not equal to, if some of the words are not strings, we would want to return false, right? Or if some of the words equal empty string, then that would also qualify as some invalid data type, or sorry, invalid input. So return invalid elements. Okay. So got 5 minutes left. Is there anything other than that in our guard clause? I don't think so. We would probably want to check though, just to make sure which ones. These are the 2 error messages we were thinking of. So I'm just going to comment this out and comment this stuff out. All right, just so we can validate that those are working. So this is node word finder. Okay, and those 2 messages are being displayed. I suppose I should write one other one here. Oh, whoops. Console log like 1, 2 or something, or 1 hello. There should also be an error. Yep, invalid elements. So we saw that. So I'm going to comment these out now, and we can go back to working on the core test cases. So we got this. Okay. Yeah. And this is also we were gonna not focus on that one. All right, so we got 4 minutes left. I still think we can pull it off. Okay, so we want to traverse the input array of elements, and for each element we want to filter. So we want to return words filter, and what is our I guess this is just a word, right? And we're essentially going to select those words which pass the criterion. So I actually think here we can just write our helper function. So match pattern question mark, and we're just going to call match pattern on each element, and then whatever match pattern returns, true or false, the element will either be selected or it will not be selected. So let's write that function here, function match pattern. Okay, and then that should take, but it should take two. We don't actually, I think I can't do it the fun way. So word, and then return match pattern, and what's the signature going to be? We were saying a current string and pattern. Okay, so we'll just write that here, current string and pattern, current. Okay, then this will just be word and pattern, word and pattern, keep it consistent. Okay, so we've got that. So what if we just return true for all of them, and let's just look at some of the test cases, right? Okay, so yeah, we're just getting all of those, which is what we were hoping for. And I guess I haven't dealt with the sparse array thing, so I should probably do that. So how are we handling sparse arrays? So if, or I guess we were just doing, yeah, so this is just going to handle sparse arrays, and how we're doing that is essentially just taking, I guess, cleaned input, right? So const cleaned input, and it will just be words. It will be ... words filter word, and then word is not equal to undefined. Okay, and I just want to check. Let's just return cleaned input. Okay, let's just check that. Oop, I don't know if it. Okay, so was that sparse array? Oh, we're not even testing that one. Okay, so it should be the 5th one, and it's good. Okay, cool. So that's looking good. We'll just move these guys out of the way and uncomment these ones. All right, so now we have to actually write our little function over here. I don't think we're going to make it, but you know, it's okay. Close enough. So return match pattern word pattern, and now we want to check. Okay, so that's the initial thing. So if word length is not equal to pattern length, we can simply return false. So that's that sort of guard clause up here. Then we want to traverse these string elements. So we can just do like a for loop or something. So like for let's do for index in word character. Okay, so we just want to be checking each word character. So maybe like const pattern character, pattern character, and that's just going to be pattern at the respective index. Okay, so then if character equals pattern character, pattern character, or pattern character is equal to question mark, then we just want to I think we can just do, we can invert this. So if this is not the pattern character, or if pattern character is not question mark, then we would just want to return false. And then otherwise, if we can get to the end of the word and we haven't returned false, then we can just return true. Okay, so let's check this function out here, console log, match pattern. Okay, so then word, let's just say it's like lemon, right? And then let's say the pattern is like question mark, EMAN. Let's see what that produces. I'm going to comment this stuff out. Okay. So if we just run our code, we're seeing that it's false, which makes sense because there's that A. So if we change the letter to an O, we're still getting false. Okay. LEMON. So this is not working. Okay, so maybe it needs to be and. So if character, okay, so if character does not equal pattern and the pattern character is not question mark, meaning that it was something else, like O or A, right? Then we want to return false. So basically the character in the given word gets a pass and just gets a thumbs up if the respective character in the pattern, so the pattern character, is a question mark. If it's not a question mark and they're not the same, then it doesn't get a pass. Okay, so let's think about this. Question mark and then question mark, right? Would this be true? This would also be true. That works. Okay, cool. So we validated that piece of functionality works. So now let's go back up here and let's check some of our test cases again. So let's see if we run, we're getting empty array, banana, papaya. So let's see what those were expecting. So empty array, banana, papaya, cherry, banana, empty array, banana, papaya, and banana, papaya. All right, so I think this passed. We went over a little bit, like a couple minutes, but I was being very verbose in my approach to the problem, and yeah, it wasn't perfect for sure. But yeah, that was me working on this problem. I hope you got something from it. If you didn't and you've still stuck along to the end, I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, this is me solving a problem. Hopefully in under 40 minutes. I didn't quite get there, but yeah. And if you want to try this problem on your own, it's slightly different, but I'll link it in the description. Great. See ya.